Hello friends. If you watched my video yesterday, Naughty Goats, you will know I went looking for my goats. And my plan was, well honestly I thought they were like in the woods or something. The cedar trees around here, they're thick and you don't have to be very far at all, and I can't see them. And sometimes, most of the time, the boar goats, these guys, will go over there, but most of the time they stay by my house. But occasionally, they will go into the woods. They're eating cedar, and I can't see them. And I figured they never, I came out to work, and they never came by me. Never came over to see what I was doing, which is kind of unusual. So I figured they had gone a little deeper into the woods than normal, not realizing I was out, and came to, they were eating cedar. And so I headed toward the cabin. My goal was to grab some treats, something that would make noise in a metal pail. And I'd make a whole bunch of noise, I'd call them, and they'd come running. Well, instead, I found them all inside the cabin, gorging. Well, I managed to get them out. I was pretty upset because they ate a lot of food. They ate a ton of food. And so, first of all, I was dealing with the cost, okay? It was expensive. Money's been tight for the past year, couple years now. Series of, things just haven't been going right for me, and, I don't have a lot of spare money to be wasting on feed. It's expensive feeding all these animals. And so when they sat there and ate all that food, I had just bought a bunch of it. And they had eaten it all. So part of me was upset with the expense. Thankfully, since then, several people have sent me a little bit of money so that I can at least, after Thanksgiving, I'll be able to go and replenish what they stole. And I'm very, very thankful for that. But besides the expense, I had a lot of concern about their health. First of all, when you change the diet of a goat dramatically, one of the things that can happen is bloat. Bloat can kill. And I shared a little bit about that yesterday, but I honestly didn't share a lot. And when I was reviewing the video and editing and stuff, I thought I'd better clarify some things. First of all, okay, what happens with bloat is, the goat, they eat a lot of fresh green vegetation that their GI tract, their rumen just isn't used to eating. Or they eat a lot of grain. Their diet has changed dramatically very quickly. And they just don't have the GI tract, what they need in their GI tract in order to digest all that. And it can get bogged down and not move and kind of get stuck in their system and form lots of gas, but the gas gets trapped because they're just, it's like the rumen shuts down, and they'll, on the left side, the rumen's on the left side, lunch is, how you can help remember, left is lunch. And they start forming gas, and the left side will just get expanded. If you've got a non-pregnant goat and only one side is suddenly, this left side is just suddenly expanded and the other side isn't, you've got bloat. In a really severe case, it could be both sides. No matter what, this is a medical emergency. If you even suspect bloat, you've got a medical emergency. And you need to start treating, until you're positive that you don't have bloat, you need to treat for bloat. It's a medical emergency. Lawnmower, why are you doing that? I'm not your scratching post. Sport, I'm not your scratching post either. So, my number one concern, once I got them out of there and started assessing the situation, figured out how bad the damage was, I started worrying about bloat. And so, as a preventative, I put down baking soda, and they were gobbling it up. They eat a lot of the baking soda. But baking soda is not the treatment of choice for curing. If your goat already has bloat, it may help prevent it because it will help them burp. Because you want your goat, you want all that stuff to pass out of the rumens and get the rumen functioning again. Any gas that's trapped, you want them to burp it up. You want them to fart it out. You want to get rid of all that extra gas. Just like in a human, if you're all full of gas, you want to get rid of it. It hurts. But this actually will shut their digestive system down if not dealt with. So the baking soda was a preventative. But if you actually find your goat with full-blown bloat, okay, there's no question your goat has bloat. There are remedies that you can buy at your feed store designed for bloat. And when I was new, I bought one, but honestly, I never used it and it expired. A lot of people will use like olive oil. And they drench it. They actually will, drench the goat with some olive oil. There's other things you can do too. And some people do use baking soda in a drenching gun when they know they are dealing with bloat. The most important thing though is if you own livestock, I don't care if it's goats or sheep, cattle, I don't care what you've got. If you own livestock, you're going to eventually come down with, a case of bloat. One time, my goats got into the dog food. We were having trouble. We had puppies at the time, and the feeding station that was built was just, as the puppies grew, they couldn't get in anymore, and we tried to make it so they could get in, and then the goats could get in. It didn't work. We had to abandon that whole system. But in the meantime, goats got in, gorged on the dog food, and one of them got bloat. And I knew what to do. And that's what's important. Whatever you do, be prepared. Know what action you're going to take, because you don't want to have to run to the store. Your animal's going to be in pain. So you're going to have to drench them with something. Have it on hand. Know what you're going to do. And be prepared. Get whatever it is. If you plan on using olive oil, then have it on hand. Whatever you do, do your own research and figure out what you want to do. Another incredibly important thing is a goat with bloat needs to walk. You don't want them lying down. You want them walking. And so if your goat has bloat, you get them up, you grab their collar, and you start taking them on a hike. You make them walk. You make them walk with you. You just make them walk. Just make them walk. You want them to walk. That's going to help get their rumen moving again, functioning. You don't want them laying down. So those are the two most important things I can suggest. But do your research. Know what to do. Because bloat, it can strike at it doesn't strike at the most convenient time. So be prepared and be educated, because it's going to happen. If you've got livestock, it's going to happen. Well, I managed to avoid bloat. Thankfully, I avoided bloat. The baking soda worked. That's all I gave them for a while. Then in the evening, I fed them alfalfa, and they just gobbled that down like crazy. And they seemed to be okay. Well, then this morning, I found they all had tummy aches. Basically, Scours. Now, if you don't know what Scours is, that's just the word that's used for livestock. It basically means diarrhea. They had the runs. Everybody. They all had poopy butts. Everyone except Lawnmower and Sport were the only ones here who did not have poopy butts. Everybody else had poopy butts. All over the place were piles of diarrhea, poop. Not little goat berries that I'm used to seeing. It was diarrhea. Just some of it was a little more firm than others. Some of it was just the runs. So, these guys all have upset stomachs from eating too much. And so, I'm going to get away from them because I am getting tired of being used as a scratching post. No Sport. Nope. And, so, what I've done, I've kind of made a GI smoother. I've made some tea. In this tea, I've got some cinnamon and molasses. I've got garlic and ginger. Ginger helps a lot with upset tummies. So I brewed for a long time some ginger and put molasses. I put apple cider vinegar in here with the mother. I also have some probiotics in here. It's a concoction of stuff. Oh, and I put some slippery elm in here. That's really good for helping the GI. And so I made this tea for everybody. Well, if you've never seen one, this is a drenching gun. It's a goat and sheep size, basically. Let me pull it out here. Okay. See, you just, you fill it up, and then you just stick it in the goat's mouth, and you push it out. I mean, this part right here goes in the goat's mouth. The liquid comes out. And I'm by myself. I would demonstrate if I could, but I have nobody to hold the camera for me. But I am going to give every goat a little bit of tea and hope it helps their tummy. I mean, honestly, what they really, it will help, but it's going to take a few days to get back into shape. I mean, they've screwed up their digestion. It's just like if you went and ate 10 pounds of chocolate, it'd probably mess you up a little bit. That's kind of what they did. So I'm going to drench them in some of this medicinal tea to help their tummy. And I hope this, gives you some little bit of information if this happens to you. And remember that if you want to sound really intelligent, don't call it diarrhea. Call it Scours. And then you'll know, that's what ranchers and vets and everything call it. So I didn't know that when I first got goats. One of those words I learned. So I hope you found this educational, and especially if you have goats or sheep or any kind of livestock. Know how to treat them. Just do the research and know how to treat them. And honestly, bloat is really common, so you need to know how to treat that. So thank you for watching, listening to me. I wish I could show you how I'm going to drench everybody, but there's no way I can hold the camera and do this. I really need 3 hands to do this, but only got 2. So you take care, and tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a wonderful, thankful day. Bye-bye.